Alright guys, got the grill inserts in. I cannot imagine another $20, $22, $23 I could spend on this car to make a more major difference than that, but that looks so much better. We are gonna clean these headlights up. You can see they're pretty dingy, but I've did a lot of those before. We'll get those cleaned up. Side marker light over here is cracked. I'm gonna replace those ugly orange lights anyway, and get the clear outside corner lights. I think that'll make a big difference in it too, cleaning up the headlights and getting those in. Again, another, I don't know, I think they're like 30, 35 bucks online. But yeah, I am excited. I'm gonna get out here tomorrow. I'm gonna get in here and get some sleep and get back with you guys tomorrow, and we will get this fuel pump put in and see if we can get this thing fired up for the first time in possibly almost a decade. All right, so a quick rundown of where we're at on this thing before we get started on fuel pump change out. We know we got a fuel issue and not a spark issue, because we pulled the intake off, the air intake, once we got the battery charged up and got the ignition switch fixed, and we sprayed some starter fluid down in it and she cooked right off. So we know we got a fuel delivery issue, and we're hoping it's going to be the fuel pump, so we'll get into it. All right, so I showed you guys last night putting the front grills in, so it looks way better. Not missing that. We got our made in China Jackie Chan 3000 fuel pump here. Unboxing on it. A1 Premium, or AP Premium, whatever it is. I think it's A1 Premium. A Premium. Whatever. So, I could have got one a little cheaper, you know, made in a smaller shop in China. But I have ordered some A Premium stuff before. I've had a decent amount of success with it. Paid the extra $8 or whatever it was and got this one. So there's our fuel pump assembly. Comes with the whole deal. Got the fuel pump in it. It's just a drop-in unit. Makes for a lot easier install. Yeah, I could have, from this company, got comes with a new seal. I could have got just the unit and switched all that out inside my other assembly, but a lot of times this hose in particular on these BMWs, from what I've seen when I changed the one on my Alpina, they kind of they tend to dry up, crack up. So wanted to make sure we get a whole new unit, and hopefully our fuel gauge still works as it's working right now. And yeah, I mean, hopefully we'll go here and get this thing out and switch it out and hopefully have a running car. That's what we're hoping for. I didn't order the fuel pump relay. Probably should have. It was like 10 bucks. I was like, this one may be good. And then, you know, I don't really have intentions of, you know, I don't know what the intentions are. If it's keep this car long term, or, you know, swap it and V8 swap it and rip it a little bit and sell it, or right now I'm kind of leaning towards turbo in the engine that's in it, depending on how it runs. If we crank this thing up today and she runs good, we take her down the road and she shifts good, then I've never did a turbo myself. I've had turbo cars, I've had turbo swap cars, but I've never did one myself. And kind of part of this YouTube thing for me, and probably for a lot of you guys if you're watching, it's a learning journey. You know, I want to be able to turbo my own cars. I did nitrous kits. I've never did a turbo. So I feel like this car is a great one to try to test and tune that on and see if I can do it. Not looking to really invest a whole lot into this thing. So there's a turbo kit that's designed specifically for this car on eBay for about $730 shipped, I think. So I think we're probably going to go that route as long as the engine runs good and everything today. I think we're going to get that kit on order and we're going to try our hands at turbo in a car. I did see where I don't want to get too far into this because you guys are watching the Will It Run video, but I did see where a lot of people did that turbo kit and said that they were able to run the stock pump and stock injectors. Allegedly, this one is a little higher volume flowing pump than the stock pump. And I'll take that for what you will for a $40 pump. But if not, we'll do like a Walboro pump or something in it. And I know there's some Chevy stock injectors, I think, that swap out on these engines that have a lot higher volumes, the Bosches, and I think you can get a set of them for like 100 and something bucks. So we may end up doing that. So we'll get this thing over here and I'll show you guys how to get the old fuel pump out. All right, guys, hopefully you guys can see good here. So you got a connector here and a fuel line. This is underneath the rear seat. It's very easy, it just pulls out. Pressure down, pulls out, kind of like an old style 60s car seat, rear seat. So you gotta kind of work this connector out. It's old, so it's not wanting to go gently into the night here. You kind of see what I'm doing. I'm sticking, there's a square part here. When you slide this back to get the rest of the leverage you need, you can kind of pry back on that section right there. Pull it back as you pull up. Okay, so now we're gonna undo our fuel line, flathead. Kind of work it back and forth. Try not to break off the connector up in the line. A little further back. Got some fuel up in it, so I think it was trying to pump a little bit. What I'm hoping we don't come to here is that the pump was working and we got a clogged fuel filter, which I also did not order, but I can get next day if I need to. All right, taking this off. All right, this is going to be too sharp, which is why I brought this over here. So you got these kind of little divots on this, and you use these to counterclockwise knock them over, and it'll turn this pump out. You guys can see that there. It's turning around, and once it turns around, this plate will loosen and maybe come off. Threaded all the way down. All right, so you thread it off, got your plate off, and now should be able to, oh my god, the fuel smells terrible. kind of pry on the lip here a little bit, and that'll pop loose. And you can pull your whole assembly out. Yeah, and the hose we're talking about is broken half. So that honestly might be the problem with the pump. You guys can see that. That's the hose I was talking about. And that's why I ordered the whole assembly. Work it back and forth here to get you. Oh, yeah, this thing is crusty. Fuel doesn't look terrible, honestly. I think this will. All right, so that's our old pump. Like I said, where it was broke there, that was like hanging barely on. So I'm wondering, possibly, if that wasn't the issue. You guys can see that fuel. You guys know what old fuel looks like, but that looks, that honestly looks pretty good in the overall scheme of things. Doesn't smell as bad as, you know, most of the cars I work on, which are usually 60s models or have been sitting 30 years, and it's a will it run. So let me go grab the new pump. All right, so we got a new pump here. Came with a new seal. We'll get that old seal out. This thing's got like a full tank of gas, you know, for better or for worse. We'll find out if that's a good thing or a bad thing when we try to start it here in a minute. But yeah, I'm a little more enthusiastic that the pump was the problem now that I saw when I opened that up that hose was dried out and cracked. Alright, now let's see. This one's got like a smaller sock on the bottom that isn't hanging out on the side, so it's kind of convenient for get this top hose piece pulled off. Make sure we drop that down in the fuel tank. See if we can get this in here without breaking anything and having to. Oh, I messed up. 1 second. Get our new seal in. You want to make sure you get the old fuel that's been sitting for 8 years. You know, you want to make sure you get that all over you as much as possible. That's key to fuel pump installs. Squeeze it past the seal. Hose up out of the way. Figure out how exactly this set. I think it was. Jesus. Try to put it on that side. Stick the seal and all down in there. That's the painful part of the process, is getting it to set right. But if you don't do this, which I've learned in the past, you're going to end up putting your float trapped up against the bottom, and basically your fuel gauge will never be accurate. What's this here? It looks like, not sure what kind of wire that is. Let's see if we can get this to seal down in there. Maybe I just gotta have the pressure of this deal. Can never get this thing threading. Maybe it's starting on there. huh? Let's see if we can. It's pushing down. It's just trying to push this thing down. Turn this all at the same time. It's not. Get some more leverage on it. There we go. Got that. Lock her down a little bit. She's pretty tight right now. That's pretty tight. Okay, now back with our clamp. Yeah, I'm pretty encouraged that this may fix the problem after seeing that hose. All right, once you got that back down, get all this old stuff out of the way, and turn this right side up, and figure out your pins. Set it down. Put your clip back on. What is this supposed to be around to? Not sure where that's supposed to go. I don't see anywhere for it to hook. It looks like a completely different system of wires from the fuel pump. I guess we'll figure it out when we go to try to start it. How in the world does this line up? Maybe it only goes one way. There we go. Maybe? No. Come on. It's never smooth, guys. There's always an issue. How in the world is this not lining up? I mean, it's... maybe it goes like that. There we go. Alright. And then we got our bolts at the last owner, thankfully, left right here for us. We'll just kind of hand tighten them on for now. Get them started where I don't lose them. And I'm hoping when we turn this switch over I can actually hear this pump. Alright, so we got that on. Let's get back up here under the hood. Alright guys, I'll throw that clip in here of how I made my free 99 cold air intake box here. That other filter, that was kind of by necessity. That other air filter was absolutely clogged to the max. Our Perspective exhaust setup here, old glass pack cherry bomb I had. Alright, so this thing has been setting all week while I've been on my work trip, so we'll see if we got a dead battery or not. No, we don't have a key. 1 second, go get the key. Alright, so I got the key. Let's see if our battery's dead or not, or get the moment of truth here. See if we got everything fixed for a total cost of $40. So, if you guys didn't watch the last video, the biggest problem with this car was the ignition switch was froze up. The tumbler was froze up. I sat out here with PB Blaster and threw some music on and worked that thing back and forth for about 45 minutes. The first night I got it here, and it turned a little bit finally, and I started tapping it at the end here, turning it, jiggling it. Finally we got it to turn over. So full tank of gas. Moment of truth. Let's go. Oh, she's running rough, but she's running. All right. Some self-correction going on. I like it. All right, let me shut this thing. Oh God, bunch of wipers work. Let me shut this thing off. I checked the oil when I first picked the car up, I'm pretty sure, but before we run it too long, let's check this again. So I definitely don't want to have it running now and nuke the engine on startup here. Dude, that is awesome. I'm so stoked right now. Jesus. Oh, for the love of God. There we go. Got us a rag. Jesus. Oh, yeah. God bless BMW. This thing's twisted off in there. Figured I was about to snap that off. At least this BMW does have a dipstick, unlike my Alpina. You gotta count on the car to tell you if you're gonna run your car out of oil or not. Alright, let's see here. Let's try that one more again. Alright, she's, you guys can see this. She's on there, but she ain't in the operation range, so it might be about a quart low. Alright, so let's address that before we run this thing too long. Alright, so we got the best oil in the world here, you know. The old Rotella T4. Got all the dinosaurs and fossils and vitamins and minerals that a growing kid needs. Spill that all over my engine cover there. Now, we are gonna, you know, disclaimer here, we are gonna change this oil pretty quickly after we test her out here a little bit. Gonna get a filter on the way today. We'll get some actual good recommended oil up in here. A little more, boys. Yeah, she was probably, I don't know, quart and a half low. I'll just give her the rest of that. Probably a quart and a half low if I had to guess. Yeah, she definitely didn't like that fuel there for a minute when she first started, but she took to it. I realized it was all she's gonna get. Okay. All right, let me get this thing started back up here for you guys. How do the windshield wipers keep coming on? She ain't. At times here. Oh my God. I do not know how to work windshield wipers. I literally own a BMW. It seems like at times she ain't really caring for that old fuel, but she kind of idles out. Running pretty good. That's so awesome. 8 or 9 years off the road. Oh yeah, we probably most certainly have a vacuum leak right there. Check that out. Yeah, I seen this hose online for about 10 bucks. I think you can get the old value pack with both of them for about 15 or 20 bucks. So probably gonna need to order on that because that's probably a vacuum leak waiting to happen if it's not already happening. But shoo-wee. We're now at what value of the amount of money I had in the gun. Not the value of the gun that I traded, but the amount of money I had in the gun being around 500. We already had the cold air filter there. $40 pump, $20 grill insert. So we're 560 bucks into our running BMW, which we're about to find out if it's a driving BMW. E46 guy. I've always been interested in them, but never owned one. So this actually has a, you know, if it's flush, it's minimum. And if it's, I don't know, whatever that far is sticking out, then that's the max. So looks like she's just below the minimum right now. So she got set up here. I'll grab some coolant. This is not BMW coolant, but from what I've seen on some of the stuff from previous owner, not the owner I got it from, you know, he was just working on it, trying to get it going. He was taking good care of her, but there were some owners there in the middle, in between old Adam that we saw on the receipts. Old Adam that we saw on the receipts, maybe it was the first owner that was really replacing on some stuff. There were some guys in the middle there that reckon destroying words a little bit. So I don't think a little bit of off-brand coolant is gonna hurt it. Look at that. 9 years off the road, baby. We are back. She runs a little rough at start. But I think once we get some good fuel in her, I think we can alleviate that. And like I said, we possibly have a vacuum leak on that hose right there. That thing's seen better days. Them new grills, baby. Sheesh. Alright. Waiting on the fans. Figuring this says ATF oil only, but I'm assuming that's the power steering. I'll have to look that up. I'm sure one's one and one's the other, and it doesn't really matter because they both can take ATF. But I do have some of that that high dollar hollow. If you guys don't know what you're really supposed to put in a BMW, the power steering, this CHF from 1S is higher than a giraffe's ass, but good stuff. It's like a green color, kind of wicked looking. You can get it on Amazon. Pentacin CHF 11S. And I already have that, so we'll put that in there if it needs it. Alright, still waiting on fans here, boys. Hear the cold air intake sucking. It's a tiny filter, it would suck a lot harder. Alright, it's not going to come down off a rev good. Fluids here. How are you supposed to read this thing? Dipstick ain't got anything, any marks on it. Yeah. I don't know, she's... Oh, I guess that's the operation, right? It's these two lines. It's at the top of that, so... Definitely ATF in that one. I think this actually may be the oil filter on this one, if I remember right. I think my 5 Series BMW had the oil filter there. Access at the top. The question is, where is the transmission fill? So let me look that up real quick. Alright, so after some investigation, you have to check the transmission fluid underneath the car after it warms up by taking the fuel plug out. Basically, transmission fluid at fuel plug good, transmission fluid not at fuel plug bad. So that's going to be a later time. Get this thing started back up. Definitely not real happy on first start up with that old gas. And she's real unhappy with it after it's been running for a while and you try to start it again. So just gonna let her run. See if our fans kick on here. Woo. I think we're gonna have to pump that old gas out, so bad as I hate to. It got warm yet. I just checked a minute ago. I'm gonna run a can of Berryman's through this thing and see if maybe that ain't maybe clean the fuel system out a little bit, possibly. Used to carbureted engines where you can just pour down the throat, but you guys that don't use this stuff, this is really good stuff. Pretty much the same thing as seafoam for about half or less than the price, especially if you get the dollar store. Don't buy it at a parts store, buy it at a dollar store. Blinkers are working. I just tested both the blinkers. We got low beams. High beams are not working, so I'm wondering if maybe our plug situation there is the hindrance for the high beams. Maybe somebody was looking to change a bulb and didn't hook her back up, but she still ain't super warm. I don't know if she's gonna have to get to that point before we get to fans kicking on, but I mean, the gauge is working. Nothing under there feels super hot, so I'll let this thing run for a little while. I'll get back with you guys on the fans here. Hey guys, as you can see, it looks like it's not running fast, but it's screaming. You can hear it. So the fan's working. Unplug the coolant temp sensor down there, because I thought maybe that was bad. Sometimes if you got a bad coolant temp sensor, if you unplug it, then your fan will come back on. So that fixed that. So we're gonna have to get a coolant temp sensor at some point. She is pretty warm. Show you guys this real quick while we're waiting on the engine to cool down a little bit, or we can use the fan and the fresh coolant to get her where she's supposed to be. This is this air compressor. I got a really nice air compressor at my house in Louisiana, but my son and my wife are still there. Or my sons and my wife, and my oldest son and my wife got to keep their cars going, and I work there too. So in the meantime, I brought this one that I bought. I bought this thing in Kentucky. I think I gave $20 for it at a yard sale. It takes a minute to get going. Sometimes I got to tap on the top here, but I had to replace one of these capacitors. I think it was this one. And she actually works real good. You know, good enough to air a tire up. I mean, you ain't gonna get something to tap on this thing with. AC bracket off the Bel Air. She works good enough to air off the tire. $20 probably 15 years ago. It's an absolute death trap because I don't have the cover on it there. So I gotta make sure that's unplugged around my youngest son where he don't lose a finger, but we're gonna get this tire aired up. Guys, the amount of MacGyver that we're on today. I had a really bad leak on this cheap hose that I found at my other house I was using to fill this tire up. I needed pipe tape. I didn't have any. I looked everywhere and I couldn't find any, and I found an old intake outlet. I believe this came off my 66 Galaxy, the old engine, before I swapped it and pulled the tape off of it and used it. So, MacGyver, man. Do what you can with what you got. Alright, so it's that time. I think given any, we don't have any catastrophes on startup here, I think we're going to try to take this thing for a little rip down the road here. It definitely needs a tune-up. We'll get to that. Glad I live at the bottom of a mountain here. Let's see if we can get up this hill. Well, we definitely got reverse. We're making up this hill. Oh, make sure I'm not going to put us in the ditch here. Alright. We'll go get some AC charger and charge this AC up. She's blowing. She wasn't blowing real cold before, but she was hot, so. Let's see what. Alright, man, it's hot out here. Alright, so we got driver's window down, passenger's windows giving me trouble. I don't know if we need a regulator over there. I don't think so, because I rolled it down the first night. I think I need something moved up over there. Oh, she's a little peppy. A little bit peppy here, boys. Let this, there we go. Ain't no way, boys. Ain't no way. Alright, I don't want to drive this thing super far. But, loop here. Really just wanted to test the gears. It's getting a little warm again. Oh bit up there. She's getting a little bit warm. I don't know if our fans are kicking at full percent. It could just be that temp sensor is unplugged and giving us a false reading. It's probably what's going on, but I think the next plans is get that coolant temp sensor replaced. That way we got a good read on what's going on with our temperature. And it looks so much better with those grills in the front. But yeah, get that replaced on. Now that we got the fuel pump in, we can go back in with the rear seat. Get that all tidied up before the next video. We're going to order these. This one's cracked. These side marker or whatever corner headlights. We're going to clean up our main headlights and find out why our brights aren't working. And we're going to continue to peruse Marketplace to do something about these god-awful wheels. I got a couple in mind. It's a newer set of 18s about an hour away from here. I'm actually going to be passing by this weekend heading that way. So I may contact them and see what's up with maybe getting that set of wheels on here, because I think that's really going to set her off. She's already tucked down pretty good with these. These are 17s, so I think it puts my 18s on it. Probably will end up lowering it, but I think with 18s on it, the tire gap there is definitely going to be gone. So man, I am freaking stoked about this thing, man. What are we, 550 bucks into this thing. We got a running driving car. Needs a temp sensor and a couple of little beauty pieces, and she'll be ready to hit the road. We'll get on some road trips on this thing and really test her out. But also we're gonna get that turbo on order soon and start working that. I do think that's going to be the initial plan for this car, just because right now we're a little stretched on time. About to take the WS6 build that we did on the channel down to LS Fest next weekend. I'm replacing the ram horn manifolds on this one. I've already replaced one. I got the other one I got to put on my 67 Bel Air. And then we're going to get all new exhaust ran on it. I got to get this thing titled this weekend. My son's turbo ATS. We got forged pistons over here for it. So he's going to drive it for now, and he's going to save some money. And then when he gets some money up, we're going to put these JE forged pistons in it and have them up. There's the other manifold for the Bel Air, and have my buddy Cody at RCS Louisiana put a tune on it and really turn up the boost and have some fun with that thing. I'm excited for him. He's going to be taking that to Power Tour this coming up year, and we'll see what we're taking. Most likely we're going to be taking the SRT again, what we took last year. It's fully forged now. It's got progressive mini controlled nitrous system on it, engine built to hold up to a 250 shot of nitrous, and we're not going to put that much on it. Probably a 150 shot, possibly a 200, maybe when we go tracking it at drag racing it at Power Tour. We got the max effort cam, Hellcat pump, Hellcat lifters. That's the sick build. It's going to sound incredible. I can't wait. Supposed to be getting that back next week or next weekend, probably after LS Fest. Make a run to Louisiana and pick that up. It's going to be tuned, and it's going to be a monster. So I can't wait to get that thing back on the channel, because that kind of is channel car A. And then I guess supposedly right now this is B, C in no particular order, just because they're the ones we're working with. And then we got my Bel Air, and I'm picking up my Corvette from paint soon. I got a built Stingray Corvette. That's going to be back on the channel. My cammed out Harley. But anyway, guys, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate all the support. We're up over 1,000 subscribers now. If you are part of my community that is subscribing for our short content, make sure you tune in for the long form, that we can get those watch hours back, guys. I'm not looking to get monetized to try to get rich or make any money. I'm trying to get monetized to where I can have more money to put into these builds to bring you guys better content. All of my money eventually that the channel begins to make is going to go back into the channel and bringing these builds to you guys and showing you guys how to do some stuff and showing you guys some cool stuff. But for now, guys, this is Randy here with Garrison Speed, out.